Hello everyone, this is part 9 of What If Naruto Was in Rosario Vampire, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. So Yukari couldn't help. Mocha asked. No, I'm afraid it turns out the book she gave me was the only one her family had that focused on ninja. Apparently witches don't have much interest in jutsus or chakra. Was she curious why you were asking about seals? A little bit. I covered myself by saying I was interested in any books she had that touched in ninja abilities. She seemed to accept that. Does it bother you at all that we're telling so many lies to our friends? Not really, Naruto admitted. I've had to lie about almost everything since the day I left Konoha. Frankly, I've told so many lies over the years it's being honest that seems weird. He shrugged. Anyway, in the ninja world, being deceitful isn't really seen as a negative, unless you're lying to your own superiors. He glanced out the bus window at the total darkness they were traveling through. So are you sure this place is safe for us to visit? Mocha nodded enthusiastically. Of course it is. It's absolutely safe. Just don't talk to anyone, and especially don't make any promises or agreements. Where we're going you will be held to your words even if they aren't what you meant. The bus came out of the darkness and onto a high plateau. Here we are, the bus driver called out. I hope you find what you are looking for. Please be careful when exiting the bus. He looked directly at Mocha. So you will not need me to return you. Oh no, thank you bus driver-san. Mocha said. Wait a minute, Naruto spoke up a bit nervously. How are we supposed to get back? No need to worry young man, the bus driver said. She knows the way. Mocha stepped off the bus first. The instant she did so she was surrounded by a demonic aura and quickly transformed into her adult self. Naruto was caught completely off guard by this and stared at her as the bus pulled away. Nanny, but you still have the rosary on. How can you change? The adult Mocha gave him an amused look. I see the other Mocha neglected to mention there are some powerful magics in play on this world. They are far more powerful than the magic used in the rosary. So long as we are here in this world the rosary's power will be suppressed. Well I suppose that's a good thing. I mean it's a lot safer being with this version of you. True, she answered. Let's head towards Azkara. Walking side by side they headed towards the settlement out in the distance. As they traveled Naruto was surprised to note that Mocha seemed to be in a rather pleasant mood. That should have been enough to tell him he was in trouble. So you are a liar, she said in an agreeable voice. Ha, on the bus, did you not say that you lie so much you find being truthful strange? He looked over at her feeling a bit worried. The way you say that you make me sound like a dishonest person. Are you not? Mocha asked. As someone who constantly tells lies, are you not by definition dishonest? Now hold on, it's not like I had a choice most of the time. For someone like me the truth can be dangerous. Besides, when I went to Tokyo I was given a cover identity and I had to lie. But you often lie even when you do not need to. She gave him a meaningful look. Have you ever lied to me? No, he meant to say. Yes, he did say. What the hell? Why did I say that? Her pleasant mood seemed to disappear and she was now eyeing him as if she were a cat and he were a mouse. I see, you should be aware Uzumaki Naruto that I detest liars. But when I lied to you I was only trying to protect you or protect my pride. I never told you any big lies. Really? She asked coolly. Were you being truthful all the times you told the other Mocha you loved her? Yes, I love her with my whole heart and have never loved anyone the way I do her. I see, her manner seemed to soften just a bit. What do you think of Kurumu? I think of her as nothing more than a friend. I think she's sweet and I love how she always finds a way to press her tea against me. If I weren't totally in love with Mocha-chan I would jump her bones every single chance I got. He stopped walking and literally slapped his hand over his mouth. What is wrong with me? I actually told Mocha I wanted to jump her bones. Is that so? Mocha's voice had a slight edge to it. Are you going to K me? I have not decided yet, though I seem to be leaning in that direction. She got moving and Naruto had to hurry to keep up with her. She was wondering if she really wanted to ask him any more questions. Because of the enchantments he couldn't lie. If he'd known about them he could have given her careful answers that were truthful but revealed little. But since he was trying to tell her lies he wound up telling her much more truth than he wanted to. Glancing over at him she decided this was too good of an opportunity to pass up. Have you ever kissed her? No. Have you wanted to? Yes. He looked horrified. But the only girl I really want to kiss is Mocha-chan and I would never kiss anyone else while I was with her. I see, she said calmly. So you truly love my other self? Yes I do. And what do you think of me? She asked quietly. What do you think of the scary Mocha? I love you too, he told her. I love you because you are still Mocha no matter how scary. I also really want to have S with you. Naruto once again looked horrified. Is that so? Mocha seemed to be amused again. More than you want S with Kurumu. A lot more, he admitted. Ever since that night I took your clothes off I've dreamt about seeing you and imagined what it would be like for us to do it. He paused and wondered what sort of curse he was under to keep spewing such things. You're really going to K me now aren't you? I am not offended to know that you want my body. They continued walking for a bit. Why did you ask the other Mocha to go with you when you decide to leave the academy? Because I want us to be together for always. You and the gentle Mocha you mean? No. Me and Mocha-chan. I want to be with both of you. There is something you should know then, one day the gentle Mocha will disappear. She touched the rosary. The two individuals you call Mocha were created by this rosary's enchantment. Neither of us is the real Mocha, though I am far closer to her than my other self. In a sense you have never met, Mocha. One day we will both decide to return to our true self. On that day I will destroy the rosary and our two psyches will merge. The gentle Mocha you know will be gone. That was news. Naruto had never even considered the possibility something like that might happen. He had grown used to dealing with her two sides and had assumed that was how things would remain. The idea of never seeing the sweet innocent Mocha again left him feeling very sad. It was like being told someone you cared for had a terminal illness. But even though she will physically vanish, her memories and thoughts will remain. Her love for you will not disappear. They continued to walk in silence for a bit as he thought about that. It doesn't matter, he said in a soft undertone. Despite that she'd heard him. Are you certain? He looked at her. Yeah I am, I love Mocha no matter what form she takes. I like the gentle her and I like the strong her and I'm sure I'll like whatever Mocha the two of you become. Mocha gently shook her head. You cannot know that Uzumaki Naruto. He looked over at her. Do you love me? A rare look of surprise crossed her face. That is an irrelevant question. The other Mocha loves you, that should be enough. So if I were cared or if I just left without you someday you wouldn't care at all. I have already told you, if anything happened to you the gentle Mocha's heart would shatter. What about your heart? What would you feel? I would feel concern for the other Mocha. And nothing else. She frowned at him and spoke coolly. I am not the same as the other Mocha. My heart is not as gentle and soft as hers. Tell me something, why did you put on the rosary originally? She hesitated before answering. It was because I was lonely. I lived with my father and my brothers and sisters in a vast castle. Even though I had family we were not close. My relationship to my siblings was based on rivalry and we were not affectionate. I had a younger sister I made some effort with, but even with her, she sighed and seemed oddly human for a moment. Even with others of my own kind I was lonely and so one day I sought out my mother. She gave me the rosary and I decided to attempt to live the life of a young girl in the hopes of finding someone I could care for, someone who would take away my loneliness. And are you lonely now? She turned her head and looked away. No. He smiled at her. Neither am I. XXXXXXXXXX. They walked on towards Azkara without saying anything more. As they passed the signs Naruto read them out. Let no lie be spoken. Let no deception stand. Let your wish be fulfilled. Let the price be paid. He glanced over to her. Let no lie be spoken, You could have warned me. True, she admitted with a smirk. But it would not have been nearly as entertaining. As they entered Azkara the streets was as packed as on her last visit. And just as before the various beings made a wide berth around her. Is this normal? Naruto asked. Yes, Mocha said. Just about all other people avoid vampires. It has always been like this, even with the servants in my father's castle. The boys you worry so much about in school. If they saw me like this, they would react the same. She then did something that surprised him. She reached out and wrapped her arm around his. He looked over at her in surprise. Do you object to walking with me like this? She asked calmly. Is this a privilege only the other Mocha is allowed? No, I'm always happy to be close to you, Mocha-chan. I'm just surprised, that's all. Walking arm in arm, she led them through the crowded streets to their destination. XXXXXXXXXXX. Melza frowned and regretfully shook his head. I am very sorry, Akashia Mocha, but I'm afraid there is nothing I can do for him. What do you mean nothing? She demanded. You have access to powerful magics and artifacts. Surely you have something that can remove a simple human seal. The Jinn smiled at her. Oh, I certainly could. Then do so and we will discuss your price. Mocha stated. Well, part of my price would have to include your friend's life. That seal has been connected to the functions of his heart. If it is simply erased, his heart will also be destroyed. I am afraid no general magic will help with this. The only safe way to remove it will be with the aid of a practiced seal master. Why am I not surprised that it wouldn't be easy? Naruto muttered. If you cannot help me, I can take my business elsewhere. Melza shrugged. Go ahead, we Jinn grant wishes. None of us bother to study something as mundane as sealing. No one else here will be able to help you, I'm afraid. She let out a low, annoyed growl. She damn well knew he was telling the truth. So there's nothing at all that you can do. Nothing that wouldn't K him. He looked over at Naruto. You must be quite an interesting fellow. I never imagined Mocha would make one trip here for someone, never mind two. I never knew she was the type to care. Watch yourself, merchant, she said sharply. If there's nothing you can do, we're done here. She grabbed Naruto's arm and led away from the shop. As they left, Naruto grinned at her. You came all the way here for me before. It was nothing, she muttered. This is where I acquired the potion of summoning for you. She looked at him. I want you to remove my rosary. Alert, Naruto began looking about at the passing crowd. Why? Are we in some sort of danger? No, I am about to take us back to the academy. If I have the rosary on, I will immediately revert back to the other Mocha. There are still some things I need to say and do with you first. All right. He removed the rosary and handed it to her. Very well, I am taking us back now. Without warning, she wrapped her arms around him and pulled him tight against her body. In the next instant, they seemed to be surrounded by a black fire. And the moment after that, they were in her bedroom. Whoa, what was that? That was vampiric teleportation. I can travel not only across space but to other worlds as well. You know, you really should give a guy some warning first. He'd expected her to let go of him now that they were safely back in her apartment. But she continued to hold him tight. I love you. Her voice was calm as she leaned in. What? I said that I love you, Uzumaki Naruto. Her lips came down on his and her whole body slowly grinding against him. Her mouth and body were eager and he could feel his heart begin to race. He put his own hands tightly around her and tried to somehow create even more friction between them. When their lips separated, her eyes were staring down into his. I have never spoken those words before, not even to my father. You are the only one who has ever entered my heart. She gently touched his face. I love you and I will always love you. I love you too, Mocha-chan, and I always will. Where have you two been? An upset Kurumu demanded. Naruto looked over at her. He and Mocha had been walking together arm in arm. The sun was setting and they had only just gotten out. Mocha had her head resting on his shoulder and her eyes closed. She looked up and smiled dreamily at the other girl. Hello, Kurumu-chan, Mocha spoke in a satisfied voice. How are you this morning? Morning. It's almost night. What have you two been doing? Naruto blushed and looked away. No, nothing. Mocha simply giggled and put her head back down on his shoulder. Kurumu's jaw dropped. Somehow she just knew. She pointed at the two of them accusingly. You two had S. Naruto's blush deepened. They had indeed. After being up all night taking care of the adult Mocha, the teenage Mocha had insisted he give her equal time. Mocha let out a contented sigh and answered. 7 times. Bam. Ow. Mocha lifted her head. She'd just been hit in the face with a snowball. The three of them all looked in the general direction where the snowball had come from. Mizor stepped out from behind a tree and waved. Hi. XXXXXXXXXX. 1 week later, the two of them were standing in the middle of the woods. It was early evening and it was pouring down rain. He could have been in the dojo working on his fighting skills. Or better yet, he could have been in Mocha's bed, enjoying another marathon session with his sweet girl. Instead, he was standing in the pouring rain with Kuyu. To say he did not want to be there would have been an understatement. Kuyu pointed at a log. Light it on fire. Are you kidding me? Naruto snapped. I can't make fire even under normal conditions. How do you expect me to it when it's pouring rain? As a reply, Kuyu held out both hands and fires began to burn in each palm. There was a slight hiss as raindrops struck the flames and evaporated, but the fires kept burning. For one with the power of a kitsune it is easy. For one who has the power of the great lord himself, making a bonfire even within a monsoon should be child's play. Just because I have the Kyuubi's power stuck inside me doesn't mean I can just use it whenever I want. That's the whole reason I asked for help to begin with. I'm done wasting time with this. He turned to leave. You're one lousy teacher. Kuyu snorted. Not even the best teacher could teach a pig how to fly. Naruto stopped and turned around. What was that? I have told you all that you should need to know. A disgusted Kuyu replied. You haven't told me anything. All you keep saying is, just do it. How the hell does that help when I don't know how to do it in the first place? A child would be able to understand it. Kuyu growled. The power is within you and you have free access to it. All you have to do is draw it out. He had a revolted look. If you cannot do that much, it can only be because of your own stupidity. What did you say? Naruto demanded and took a menacing step forward. I called you stupid. Are you deaf as well? He took a step forward as well. Naruto was about to shout something when the log suddenly burst into flame. They both stopped to stare at the burning log. Kuyu nodded to himself. Well, it seems my training method finally worked. He was suddenly his usual calm self again. Naruto glared at him. You didn't do anything. But I did, Uzumaki-san, he said coolly. I deliberately provoked you and made you angry. We kitsune are beings of passion and fire. We are at our strongest when our passions are their hottest. I thought you would have a better chance of drawing on the power if you were angry. Naruto frowned at him. Well, I guess it worked. Kuyu nodded. You have finally taken the first step in mastering the power inside you. XXXXXXXXXX. 1 week later, Naruto struggled but finally collapsed face first into the mat. You're not done yet, Kenpachi said. You've only done 40, you owe me another 60 push-ups. He turned his head to glare at him. This would be a lot easier if you weren't standing on my back. Kenpachi smiled back down at him. This is your punishment for missing so many club sessions. He let loose a low chuckle. If you'd rather, we can just have an all-out sparring match instead. 60 more, you say? With a painful grunt, he got back to it. XXXXXXXXXXX. 1 week later, Naruto headed to their training session with a grim determination. He still did not like Kuyu much, but he was willing to admit he was staring to make some progress. He could start and maintain fires at will, even on his body. He was beginning to figure out how to tap into the Kyuubi's chakra. He didn't care much for the training sessions but was willing to admit they were useful. So when he spotted Kuyu, he gave him a friendly wave. Hey Kuyu-sensei, Naruto was caught by surprise as Kuyu launched himself at him and landed a ferocious punch right in his stomach before he could react. With his greater strength, Kuyu was able to slam him into a tree. And hold him there. He cried in pain. What the hell? Tell me, Uzumaki-san, Kuyu smiled into his face. How is that pretty girlfriend of yours? What? Despite his pain, he looked at Kuyu angrily. Kuyu was holding him around the collar with one hand and had one of his wrists in the other. Struggle though he could neither get away nor bring his hands together to form hand signs. What about her? She's very lovely, isn't she? I've always liked young girls with nice boss like hers. It seems like a real waste for her to be with a human like you. A low growl escaped him. Don't even try. Mocha would never have anything to do with you. Maybe I won't give her a choice, Uzumaki-san. Maybe I'll tie you to this tree and pay her a little visit tonight. Maybe I'll just hold her down and make her do anything I want. No, you won't. Furious at the threat, the power surged through him. In an instant he was surrounded by a demonic aura as his body transformed. Satisfied, Kuyu let go and stepped back. I see my. A fist surrounded by a cloak slammed into his face and sent him flying 20 feet through the air. Landing, Kuyu had no chance to even get on his feet before a claw made of demonic aura locked onto his T and hauled him into the air. Feeling Naruto's intent and looking into those mouse-red eyes, Kuyu realized he might have miscalculated. Naruto was in his one-tail form. Kuyu was a four-tail Yukai Kitsune, but that did not help him while he was in his human form. Don't ever threaten Mocha again, and don't ever touch her. Or I swear I'll KO you. With ease Naruto slammed him into a tree. Kuyu fell to the ground. He looked up at a still furious Naruto and smiled. You do realize this was training Uzumaki-san. You just managed to activate your demonic cloak, and all it took was a little threat to your girlfriend. Naruto fiercely stared down at him. His intent had not lessened. I know it was your sick idea of training. That's the only reason I don't KO you right now. But let's get something straight, you will never mention Mocha again. Such anger, such passion, that girl is quite a weak spot for you, isn't she? Just remember what I told you. Naruto left. Kuyu watched him go. He would have to begin taking more precautions when dealing with Naruto. But it was interesting to know his weakness. XXXXXXXXXX. 1 week later, Naruto was just leaving his dorm when 4 men in black trench coats surrounded him. Come with us, Uzumaki Naruto. 4 swords came out and were leveled at his T. What are you doing? Seeing him threatened, Mocha came forward. No need for concern, one of them said. He is not in any danger. Just who are you? Naruto demanded. We are the elite bodyguard. Uzumaki Naruto, you will come with us, you are summoned to meet the headmaster. XXXXXXXXXX. Meeting in the headmaster's office, in his private home, Naruto was a bit nervous. He had no idea why he was here. The man himself was not what Naruto had expected. The man was dressed in a white robe that reminded Naruto of something a priest of monk might wear. There was also the fact he had weird glowing eyes like the bus drivers. I am very pleased to have this opportunity to finally meet you. The man sounded friendly enough. I hope my guards were not too rough in bringing you here. They tend to be a bit overenthusiastic at times. It's fine, he muttered. Could you please tell me why I'm here? Of course, I brought you here so I could help you with your problem. Naruto grunted. Which problem? I have a few. I am referring to that seal on your chest that you are so desperate to get rid of. The one Jiraiya placed on you. Naruto stared at him. How do you know about that? The only people who were supposed to know were me, Jiraiya, and the Hokage. The headmaster smiled serenely. Oh, I have my ways. I know a great many things that happen here. For instance, I sensed when you were first able to use the Kyuubi's demonic aura. I sent a report to your Hokage and arranged for Jiraiya to be brought here to meet with you. So you were the one. You informed the Hokage. Why? The headmaster shrugged. Simple courtesy. The Hokage asked me to keep an eye on you and inform him if you accessed the Kyuubi's power. I promised I would. A man should always keep his promises, don't you think? Yeah, Naruto answered dryly. So you arranged for Jiraiya to come here knowing what he was going to do to me? No, I was not told of his purpose. I learned of it on my own. Please understand, I do not owe your Hokage any special loyalty. While he did enroll you at this academy, I like to think my first loyalty is to my students. Does this mean you can actually help me? Naruto tried not to get his hopes up. Certainly, I am a seal master of some skill. I could not undo the seal, however I would be able to render it inert and harmless. That would be great. However, the headmaster grinned. Doing so would certainly displease your Hokage and possibly cause future difficulties. Therefore, before I help you, I would ask for a little favor in return. Why am I not surprised? What sort of favor? Naruto asked warily. What do you know of antithesis? Never heard of it. What is it? It is an organization made up of outcast Ayashi who have a hatred against all purebred monsters. They have been a nuisance up to now, but seem to be growing bolder. You have already faced them as Seizu, Midu, and their allies were all members. They seem to be moving towards some sort of ultimate goal. I even believe that they may have a member on the Academy School Committee. I need to know who their leaders are and what they are up to. And you want me to take care of this for you? That's right, and since you happen to be a member of the Student Police Committee, you may also enlist their aid as well. But can't you just order them to help? I mean, you're the headmaster. I am afraid the committee and I have had some disagreements on certain matters. Oh, I could task them with this. Kuyu would certainly not refuse my request. However, he might be a bit less than enthusiastic in pursuing the matter. Whereas you have excellent motivation. So once again I just get used. Hardly that, no one is being used. Think of this as a mere exchange of favors. You give me something I want and in return I will give you something that you want. Now doesn't that seem fair? What it seems like is a hell of a lot of trouble. But if it takes care of the seal on my chest, I don't have much of a choice. Yeah, I guess it's fair. Alright, I'll handle it for you. XXXXXXXXXX. 3 days later, he and Kuyu descended a small stairwell into the lower levels of the committee's headquarters. We were only able to track down one of your attackers, Uzumaki-san. Kuyu sounded slightly annoyed. The SC seemed to have scattered. This one was stupid enough to actually stay at the academy. Exiting the stairwell was a long, dimly lit corridor lined with locked cells. As they walked down the corridor, Naruto noticed that about a dozen of the cells were occupied by students. A couple cried out, pleading their innocence. The rest hid in the shadows of their cells as he and Kuyu walked past. Who are these people? Naruto asked. They are criminals we are investigating. We hold them here for a while to punish them for their crimes. Most of them will be released after a while. Most of them. What about the rest? Kuyu looked over at him. The ones that aren't released are dealt with. And just how exactly do you deal with them? Kuyu smiled. I mean just what you think I mean. We are after all the enforcers of the rules and guardians of the peace here. Certain SS are necessary. Naruto had no qualms about king and enemy. In that respect he was no different than almost all other ninja. He also understood that interrogation and tea were a reality of both the ninja and monster worlds. But he had doubts about king helpless prisoners. The prisoner's name is Moroha. Kuyu pulled out a large iron key as they came to the very last cell at the far end of the corridor. With a hollow thunk, the iron door swung open. Naruto immediately recognized the prisoner as one that had helped Seizu attack him that second time. He was in chains and stepped on the far wall, otherwise he seemed all right. His spirit had certainly not been broken. Let me out of here, you bastards. You have no right to do this. We have every right, you disgusting half-breed. We are the Student Police Committee. You're nothing but a bunch of elitist bastards who get off on making everyone else afraid of you. I would enjoy teaching you some respect, you piece of trash. But I will instead leave that to my student. Uzumaki-san, I leave the interrogation to you. What? I thought I was just going to watch. Kuyu shook his head. Think of this as valuable training. You can use your fire abilities against a live opponent. You can see what you can do and also work on fine-tuning your control. Of course, should you make a mistake, he looked at Moroha meaningfully. No one will care. I'll fight someone if I have to, but I'm not going to tee anyone. I see, Kuyu said. I thought the information was vital, but perhaps I was wrong. If you do not wish him to be TD, then he will not be. But if you do not interrogate him, no one else will. He may hold the information you need. Will you allow it to remain hidden there, just out of reach? Or will you do what is necessary even if you find it distasteful? Naruto looked at Moroha and then looked back at Kuyu. You really are a bastard, you know. He held out his right palm and filled it with fire. But I guess I'm one too. He muttered. Not so much, Kuyu counseled. You don't want to K him, you want to be able to keep this up for days or weeks if you need to. Try just one finger. Naruto concentrated and caused most of the fire to disappear. There was only fire on the tip of his index finger. As he approached the prisoner, he saw the way all his attention was focused on that small bit of flame. It would be best if you just told me what I need to know now. F you, Moroha said defiantly. Naruto nodded. I am sorry about this, I know what it's like to burn. But you're my enemy and I need that information. He pressed his finger into the man's chest and listened as the skin and muscle began to cook and the smell of meat filled the cell. Moharu managed to bite down on his screams. Naruto admired that, but he also knew it was pointless. He understood what it felt like to burn. He was sure Moroha would be screaming very soon. XXXXXXXXXXX. The present. I think that's enough for today, Kuyu said, thus bringing the interrogation session to an end. Naruto nodded and put the fire out. You did very well, Kuyu commented. You're starting to get quite good at this. He suspected that was true, but it was not a compliment he wanted. If I'm done, I'll be going. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time, Uzumaki-san. Naruto grunted a reply as he performed the shunshin and disappeared in a swirl of wind and leaves. XXXXXXXXXXX. After a hot shower and change of clothes, he body flickered to his girlfriend's apartment. The smell of burnt food told him immediately she had tried to make ramen again. Honestly, how do you burn ramen? It's the easiest thing in the world to make. But he really didn't mind. He was almost starting to find the smell of burnt ramen comforting. He associated it with Mocha. After a quick meal, they'd gone over to her couch for a nice relaxed make-out session before taking things to the bedroom. Are you sure you don't want to go anywhere for winter break, Naruto-kun? Once you remove my rosary, I can take us anywhere you want. He thought about it. Well, maybe we can do something for the last week of vacation. But right now I have to keep working on this investigation. Do you mind, Mocha-chan? If you really want to go somewhere, will you spend every night with me in my bed? Definitely. Then I don't mind. Laughing, he got up from the couch and picked her up bridal style. Have I mentioned that I love you? Not in the last 10 minutes. Feeling really happy, he carried into the bedroom. He loved her and he wanted a life with her where they could both really be free and safe. To make that future happen, he was ready to do anything. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.